Hey everybody, it's time for another vlog. Let's get up to more adventures and whatnot. Hello, once again, this is Jonathan Miller with Hometown Historian channel. I'm going, the vlog that I'm doing today, I'm doing with a bunch of pictures that I took in Mount Joy, so I hope you enjoy those. Mount Joy, Pennsylvania, it's in Lancaster County. It's right in that general region of where Lidditz and Mannheim. It's a little west of those towns by about 10 miles, I believe, something along that line of Lidditz and Mannheim. But see a bunch of little different cool buildings there. I originally was putting up one of my last videos from the Lidditz trip that I made. It was going to be on John Augustus Sutter, the house that he built, that he lived in the last 9 years of his life, is there almost right in the town square of Lidditz. And also he's buried in the Moravian Cemetery. So I thought it'd be a cool historic video. I believe there's some kind of historic marker there as well. I think it's more one of those, it's a plaque. I'm not certain. I think there's a historic marker that's specifically for him as a person, so I really don't know. I wasn't able to find that one, because normally when I do these trips, like say I go to Lidditz or I go to Cornwall or Lebanon, I'll have an itinerary of, say, 4 or 5 videos that I want to do. And I'll research everything ahead of time. I'll figure out, map out where I want to go. Say this one video has 2 or 3 different locations that I'm going to film at. I figure that out and go from there. And I just sort of didn't do that with this trip. This was more sort of spur of the moment. I decided to go. I was at the Coleman Memorial Chapel along 501 there at Brickerville. And I had decided I wanted to film there, did my research, and then decided that I'm only 5 miles north of Lidditz. Why don't I drive down there? Do more than anything, I was thinking I'd do sort of a run down there to check out what all there and get a feel for things, and then decide to go back. Sort of a pre-trip, if you will. And it wound up being one where I filmed a couple historic markers, stopped a couple places, did Lidditz Springs Park, and some things like that. I still want to do the Julius Sturgis pretzel bakery, which is the oldest pretzel bakery in the New World here in North America, and the Wilbur Chocolate Factory, do their history as well. But I didn't really go there with a plan, and I sort of went in not knowing much about certain individuals, and certainly John Augustus Sutter, I didn't know really much beyond what is known. You know, the Sutter's Mill is where the gold rush began in near San Francisco, and you know, he had lost everything. Like, the miners came in and just everybody just took whatever they wanted, and he was referred to as a general and things of that nature, and he's sort of what goes with that. He was responsible for the rescue of Donner Party, which is the one where they sort of ate each other, got stuck in the mountains, and pretty gruesome story. And he was partially responsible for going in and sending supplies and to rescue them. But learned a lot more. So that was the original video that was going to come out today, and then I decided, no, I'm going to do this. I actually even filmed a vlog, and doing the pictures and audio sort of saves on space. It does make it a little bit of an easier process. I don't like seeing videos of myself, like, for long periods of time, me talking, because I just don't. It's not my thing. But anyways, I might have mentioned it in previous videos that I had gotten bronchitis. So I've sort of been laying low and just sort of letting myself recuperate. They have me on a pretty brutal antibiotic right now. So I also need to be near bathrooms. So it just sort of is what it is. But I'm feeling pretty decent today. My strength is definitely not back yet. So live filming is not going to be happening probably till the end of next week, maybe at the earliest. So this vlog is in part to just give an update on that, but also give an update on what the next couple weeks are going to look like film-wise. We'll be having content out every single day because I got plenty of material. I still have several videos that I can do. I have some stuff on the new camera, so I'm going to be working on that as well. And then over the next couple weeks, as I get back into live filming by next week, I want to start slowly bringing the new camera in. I don't want to come boom all at once. I want to work my way into it. So you'll see some subtle changes, maybe with some videos. The quality of video, once it goes over to the new camera, should be noticeable because I'll be going from the normal 1480p, I believe is what it's normally filmed in. I guess it has to do with pixels because I'm technologically not savvy at all and I don't know the lingo, but this new one is in 4K, so visually it should be pretty more impressive, I would think. And audio-wise should make a big difference. And then it'll make a big difference in battery capacity and me being able to go out and film and film and film and film and film and not have to worry about my storage capabilities and things of that nature. Like a lot of the major, I have a couple different issues that I still deal with now. The editing will be a little different. I'll be able to actually have more aspects of music, so even though I just redid a lot of the intro outros, some of that may be a little more dynamic and change a little bit. We got my niece and I are starting to put together the logo for the channel, and then I'll start looking at some of the artwork that'll go with the channel and for the merch store and things like that. I mean, we're getting closer and closer. It's slowly but surely we're moving up to where we'll have that 1,000 subscribers and take us in a further direction of going where we want to go. But this was an interesting video because I didn't know much about the man, and it was eye-opening. It's one of those things where I actually put together almost a 30-minute video, and I got rid of the whole thing because I thought it was good, but I want to approach it a little different because I think part of you it's not like it's unexpected to find out certain things that aren't necessarily pretty. Well, they aren't pretty, they're ugly. Because we talked about a couple times, especially in this series, Tales of Hometown History, we want to deal with the aspects of history that are sometimes very ugly. Don't gloss it over, show history warts and all. Because I think a lot of times history has been glossed over, and sort of things that we don't want to deal with, we just sort of shudder to the side and decide we're not going to deal with that. And unfortunately, that's not the right way to deal with history. A couple years back, they started wanting statues torn down and that type of stuff. And in certain circumstances, it was justified. In other circumstances, I think it's important that we still remember history. As long as we're not celebrating an individual that has done some ghastly, horrible things, we still need to have some kind of reminder there in that regard, because it's dangerous to forget history. Because you forget history, you can have a tendency as well to celebrate somebody that should not be celebrated. So it's a touchy matter, but it can be dealt with. And there was a circumstance, as an example, it was very popular to blast all these older statues from like the 1800s. And there was a statue in Philadelphia, I believe it was of a Baldwin, from the Baldwin locomotive works. And they had the big thing was throwing red paint and defacing and vandalizing, that type of stuff. And turned out this guy actually, in a time period, even though Pennsylvania was not a slave state, even though slavery still did exist, via the way they wrote the laws. This was a gentleman that he actually promoted and funded schools for African American children in that time period. And that was not a popular thing. Even though there were people that were against slavery, they weren't necessarily still viewing African Americans as equals. So they didn't feel it was necessary to educate the young children at the same level as they did the white children. And he felt completely differently. But his statue got defaced, and it comes from being uninformed, uneducated, and also the aspect of, and this is on both sides, of just getting all emotional about things. And there's a reason to be emotional and things, but you also, facts matter. And if you're not going to look up facts and you're just going to sort of jumble everybody's history all into one, you're going to make major mistakes. And you're also going to accuse people that are not guilty of anything of something that they're not guilty of. And unfortunately, when you start throwing things out there, a lot of times they do stick. And that's why it's something you have to be careful with, and make sure before you approach a certain subject matter, you actually know what you're talking about. And it was an eye-opener, because when I did the first video, which I'll keep part of, where I filmed live at John Sutter's grave, I said I haven't researched anything, and from what I'm aware, he led a pretty extraordinary life, which he did. You can't take that away from him. But he was also not a good person, and there's a lot of historical fact to back that up, and which we'll go over with the video. Hopefully tomorrow I'll bring that out, the John Augustus Sutter video, but I want to do it in a slightly different way to sort of, I want to be fair, but I want to be honest. I think I was brutally honest, but not necessarily as fair, because it's sort of stunning when you have sort of that knowledge thrown in your face and you're like, well, this guy was a piece of crap. But you'd also have to acknowledge the fact that he did do some good things as well. And sort of, I wanted to give a little more historic basis on certain things as well. And I think it's important as well to give a couple of those comments that were given by individuals that were there and saw the atrocities, to sort of give it a little bit more substance in history as well. And I think that's important. So I wanted to go through that and not wax poetic on this guy was awful, yada yada yada, but it was upsetting, a lot of the stuff that I learned, and it's there, it's just not on the surface like it should be. And sometimes you also have to be careful with that, because sometimes you'll read things where people put their perspectives on things and it isn't actually how it happened. But when you have that much information on this guy and the wide plethora of individuals from every different walk of life that had the same opinion, it's hard to refute that. So I want to take it from that perspective and do the video well in that regard. It might even wind up being a two-parter, because there's quite a bit there. But we got a lot coming out over the next couple weeks. I'm probably going to be relying on viewer-submitted videos quite a bit, simply because I'm running out of my live videos. And like I said, I want to intersperse some of these newer videos that are live. They're from the new camera, but I just got to go through and get everything finalized and edited, and that takes time. And don't have those quite finished yet, but there will be content every single day. New stuff will be coming out with the channel. Probably doing another content creator recommendation video, maybe a J.P. Walburn Life of a Writer. I would like to also at some point get the Heroines of Hometown History story started up again, that series. I just got to get the intro outro done for that, and the same for Tales of Hometown History, because I've got a number of really cool stories and individuals to recognize with those series. And I want to get back to Cornwall, I want to get to Mount Gretna, I want to get back to Lidditz, get to Mannheim, Mountjoy. A lot of really cool history. And the haunted history story, I want to say this, we will be doing a couple more stories of those through Thanksgiving. Then we'll start up the Yuletide tales through end of January. I probably will continue to do some haunted history tales here and there interspersed throughout the year, just because it's really cool. I just got another 4 books, I believe, from Ralph Watts, and there's some really neat information there that I think everybody will enjoy, and we'll go from there. We'll be starting up at some point in December the Country Roads Take Me Home, but there'll be the Christmas lights variety. It'll be the Christmas edition, I guess you could say. That'll be fun. And trying to think, there's something else. There'll be some other stuff in there. Nothing new news type series that'll be started, but we'll try to continue some of these series and get those going and go from there. But fall edition's done. I think the leaves have finally done with this Hurricane Nicole coming through. It sort of took the last of the leaves with it. So, but as always, I want to say thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed the photography. Hope I didn't bore you. And as always, we will see you all about town.